Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Jobinar. I'm Jody Anderson-Duquette here with Workamper News. And if you're familiar with Workamper News, you know we've been helping great people find great jobs in great places since 1987. And today we're going to hear about some great opportunities in a really beautiful state in our country. So we're joined online today with Alyssa and Jason. They're doing recruiting for the Sugar Beet Harvest in Michigan. So they're going to go through a presentation. Alyssa's going to give you all the details, the ins and outs of these great work camping opportunities. And then we'll move into a Q&A portion. So those of you who are online live with us today, thanks so much for being online. We'd love to take your questions. And so if you are on a laptop or a desktop computer, you should have a little GoToWebinar control panel on your screen with a little section for questions or chats. You can type away in there. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, you should have a questions option at the bottom of your screen that you can tap on. And those of you on a smaller device, you can swipe between the webcams and the PowerPoint. Just do a little swipe on your screen there and you can move back and forth. So that way you can either see the PowerPoint or Alyssa's smiling face over there, and Jason too. So well, like I said, we'll move into that Q&A, so feel free to get your questions in at any point, and we'll do our best to get through as many questions as we can in about an hour. We are recording this webinar today, so everyone who registered, you guys will receive an email with a link to the recording. Please feel free to share that link with any of your work camping friends that you think may also enjoy this work camping opportunity that we're going to learn about today. We'll also have the recording available at workamper.com as well as on YouTube on the Workamper News channel. So it'll be out there for you guys to check out and share far and wide. So, all right, that's enough housekeeping stuff to take care of. Alyssa, Jason, we're so glad to be online and learn all about your opportunities that you have for work campers.
Thank you, Jody. We appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to spend some time with us this morning / afternoon to learn a little bit about the sugar beet harvest in Michigan. We have been so grateful to have Jason Kine with Michigan Sugar with us today. So he's going to kind of be helping us spread the word and provide the information to make sure that this is the right opportunity for you. Jason, real quick, just to give you a little introduction, how long have you been with Michigan Sugar and what do you do there?
Well, I've been at Michigan Sugar since 2017. Spent 3 years working in the factory as a supervisor, moved out to the agricultural department a couple of years ago. I'm going into my third campaign here, and I made a mistake and I blinked and 2 of them passed me by, so it goes by fast. But it's a very rewarding position, and I truly love doing it. So
awesome.
And I'm currently the supervisor for the West District, so that covers the 5 outstations that we have, plus the factory proper in Bay City.
Well, thank you. So if some of you guys, you might recognize Jason if you've worked with him previously, or you might be lucky enough to work with him this upcoming fall if you decide that the Michigan Beet Harvest is right for you. So real quick on the express side of the team, we have myself, Alyssa Cassidy, the general manager here. Cody Robertson, who you guys might see from time to time, is our marketing coordinator. And then some of you guys might recognize Anthony and Crystal Barnett, but Anthony is our Workamper coordinator. He is the one who kind of does all of the planning and setting up, recruiting, giving you guys the information, contacting you every 30 to 45 days. And then Crystal assists Anthony with that, but she is also our project team lead. So she does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, getting everything set up and ready to go for Sugar Beet Harvest. So we are super grateful to have such a wonderful team and a wonderful relationship with Michigan Sugar. Today's topics, we're going to talk about the Sugar Beet Harvest. So who Michigan Sugar is and just about the company, why we need work campers, the locations, positions, working conditions, how to prepare for the working conditions, the pay, solo work campers, campgrounds, weather, the hiring process, frequently asked questions we get, the harvest experience, what other people have said about it, how you can learn more, and then like Jody said, we'll open it up for some questions. So the Sugar Beet Harvest, Jason, if you want to kick this off for us and just tell us about Michigan Sugar, about the company.
So Michigan Sugar, it's been around for a long time. We're a 120-year-old company. located right in the heart of Michigan, right in the heart of the state of Michigan. We're the third largest sugar beet processor in the U.S., hiring about 700 workers for 14 receiving stations, 4 factories. I believe the total pilers, we have about 74 total pilers scattered throughout, again, the state of Michigan. We average about 5.5 million tons of beets. This year was a little bit more, actually a lot more. We're over 6 million. Mother Nature blessed us with a lot of beets this year. But normally we run about 5 to 5.5 million tons, which again equates to about 151,000, 152,000 truckloads during that small little window. Our harvest usually runs, we start our early dig in August, usually mid-August, depending on the weather, depending on the beet conditions, receiving conditions, anything. But full harvest begins mid-October and runs till mid-November. It's usually about a 4-week window. But during that 4 weeks, it's hard work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of long hours, but it's rewarding. You know, I know, for example, last year we were spending 18 hours a day here, but honestly, it doesn't feel like it. You stay busy, you stay moving. It's really rewarding when you go home and lay your head down on the pillow knowing that you've done the best you could. You had a hard day of work. It feels good. It feels good. But I guess that's Michigan sugar in a nutshell.
Yeah, and so, with those 5.3 million tons of beets, it's actually processed into about 1.2 billion pounds of sugar each year. So for those of you that don't know, most of the sugar that we consume is 60% of the nation's sugar is actually sugar beet sugar, not cane sugar. So, for instance, if you got your Starbucks or anything that really is sugar related, there's a very good chance that you are consuming sugar beet sugar. And then, so like Jason was saying, for anybody who's familiar with harvest, we have incredibly different seasons each year. Last year in 2021, it was actually a pretty decent season, and we completed by November 16th. We had a few shutdown days due to weather, but overall, we got everything kind of in and tied up by November 16th. And so, Jason, you were talking about that there was about 72 pilers. And there's generally about, 61,000 tons of sugar beets in each one of those piles, give or take?
Yeah, give or take. Every pile is a little bit different. We have some piles here in Bay City. We call them, super piles. Basically, they're double piles, about 230 to 240 feet wide, 18 to 21 feet tall. But it's just like how it sounds. We're here piling beets, putting beets in piles for storage purposes. All these beets come in. We have a small window to bring these beets in before the weather starts going a little south in December. Anybody familiar with Michigan knows November, December, you can get 70-degree days, and then you blink your eyes and it's 30 and snowing. So we have a real small window to get these beets in. So we put them into piles. The piles then are stored for the factory use for the rest of the campaign. So right now we are running our vent piles, which we could probably go into a little bit more detail when we get to the special equipment operators. But the vent fields are basically what they sound like. They're venting in air to help maintain a certain temperature. A sugar beet spoils quicker when they freeze, thaw, and again, in the Michigan climate, there's a lot of that, a lot of freeze and thaw. So those vents help to maintain a certain temperature throughout the storage season, which allows us to slice the beets more effectively this time of year. We are still slicing beets, which is kind of unheard of for Michigan sugar. We're usually done by now, but we still have probably another, looking at the calendar, about 25 days left to slice beets. We'll be going until late April, hopefully. So we just got to hope that Mother Nature holds on and gives us some cool nights, cool days, and I think we're the only people in Michigan right now hoping for cool days. Everybody else is ready for summer to arrive, and we're still excited to see some snow and ice right now to keep the beets under control.
Amen. So Jason, what can shut down a piling site? You talk about the temperature range. What can shut us down?
So there's a couple things. And a lot of it's associated with weather. A rain day, if it rains too much, farmers have a hard time getting into the fields. Their equipment will get stuck, their harvester will get stuck, trucks will get stuck. So heavy rain days will shut down deliveries. Warm temperatures. We ran into a couple of those this past year. Warm temperatures that caused the core of the beet to warm up above, I think it's 53 degrees, 55 degrees is what we're aiming for. Anything more than that, we have to shut everything down. The reason for that, again, it goes back to storage. A beet temperature of 55 degrees is too warm. So once that beet goes into that pile, that whole pile may be in that temperature range, and then the beet itself will want to start growing. And as that starts growing, it uses energy, creates heat, and then next you know, everything starts rotting from within. We try not to do that, because again, we're still slicing beets in April. I think that's nothing short of a miracle as far as our storage being able to hang on this long. But we did things right. We didn't put tops into the piles. We didn't put extra mud into the piles. We did what was necessary to increase our storage through this campaign. But yeah, those are your two factors that would really shut down piling grounds. Other than that, we're go 24/7. And again, state of Michigan, those that are familiar, it's random. You can have a 70-degree day one day and then turn around, it's 30 degrees the next. So it causes us to be really flexible when it comes to staffing piling grounds and understanding when we're needed, when we're not needed. It gets pretty rough, but you know, for the most part, everybody seems to be pretty flexible when it comes to our demand as far as when we need people here.
Yeah, and so the biggest question we get is, when does it start and when does it end? So harvest generally starts October 15th, and it's an 18 to 21 working day season, but we do ask for a commitment through November 15th. And the shutdowns that Jason was just talking about are the reason why we ask for that month-long commitment, is because it can take the month of October to get those working days in. Also, some locations finish at different times. So some of these locations don't have it, 8 pilers, they might only have 2. So some locations might finish sooner than others, which would give you the opportunity to extend your harvest by potentially being able to work at some of those other locations that are still needing help. So we are going to keep going here. Why we need Workampers. So I think everybody's pretty familiar, today that the world is kind of short-staffed, and this is a really big project. And in some of our areas, it can be extremely rural. In the thumb area of Michigan, depending on where you're at and where your piling site is located. So we just have a need for more people, and we don't always have the local workforce readily available. We're going to be approximately looking for 700 workers, seasonal workers, between locals and work campers. And overall, we'll be looking about 400 work campers for the Michigan Sugar Beet Harvest to be scattered across those 14 piling stations. We also know that the Workampers have a tremendous work ethic and can be trusted to get the job done. You guys generally stick around, stick it out, and complete the season, and we greatly, greatly appreciate everything that you guys do. So location. So Jason, you were kind of talking about this. We've got 14 locations and 4 proppers.
Correct. Yep. And kind of tap on what you were saying there about locations and the size of the communities and what we're kind of working around. We're about 2 hours north of Detroit. So the area that we are kind of in is centered around the Saginaw Bay, which is it's a destination spot. A lot of people come up from Detroit to vacation in that area. A lot of campgrounds in that area, scattered all the way around Saginaw Bay and around the Lake Huron shoreline. There's really 2 good-sized cities within our piling ground area, and that would be Bay City and Saginaw. I use that term loosely as far as big cities. I always get joked about that, living in Bay City, that I grew up out in Sebring, which is location from one of our proppers, and we used to brag, we're going to the city. Bay City is not very large. So, but that's just kind of give you an idea of some of the areas that you're working around. We do have locations as far north as Au Gres. That would be our west district. West District includes 5 different locations. They all center around Bay City. Some of those locations, like Alyssa said, for example, Augrey usually runs, I'd say maybe a week to week and a half, as opposed to the full month that Bay City will still be open, roughly month. But yeah, as Alyssa said, when that location closes, we get it cleaned up. We try to pull those that still want to continue to work down to Bay City. Because Bay City, we tend to have more of a local population that have a little bit harder time keeping them here for the entire month. So we look forward to having work campers come from the different locations that we've got them located at and bring them to Bay City to finish up our season, which generally lasts the longest compared to the other 3 locations, Seawing, Caro, Croswell. They seem to finish up a little bit earlier, not by much, but it's just the nature of the West District. We tend to go a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer for our farmers to get the beets out of the field. We still haven't quite figured out why, but it happens every year. So, but yeah, it's a nice area. It's a beautiful area. Again, a lot of nice campgrounds around the area. A lot of scenic areas along the shorelines. It's pretty.
Perfect. Available positions. So our positions are 9 to 12-hour shifts depending on the piling site. Each piling site is different. So if you are interested in specifically a 9-hour shift or a 12-hour shift, one or the other, please get your applications in as soon as possible, because as much as we can't guarantee it, we do try to accommodate it, especially early on. So because ours are 9 or 12, please let us know if you prefer to work one or the other. And we need to know sooner than later if we're going to try to accommodate that for you. But please understand, we do not guarantee days or nights, but we'll do our best again to accommodate. Like Jason said, we do operate 24/7, weather permitting, once harvest starts on October 15th. So once we start, we basically go until we are complete or we experience that weather-related shutdown. We do not guarantee shifts. And then for parents, if you are a traveling family and you have young kids that cannot be left alone, we can generally arrange for parents to work opposite shifts to make sure that that somebody can be home with the kids. So for any of you parents out there, or you families traveling, please know that we do try to make arrangements to put you guys on opposite shifts to try to allow that so both parents can work. The main position that we hire for is the piler operator / ground crew, and it's what about 95% of what our staff would be hired for, and the only one that express guarantees. So we'll talk about the skilled positions in a minute, but Jason, why don't you tell us what these piler operators do?
So the piler operator, I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same one, but the piler operator, how we call it, is that person, that he or she, we call it basically the captain of that piler. The piler operator is in charge of everything that goes on with that piler. They account for all the helpers that we have around the piler. They do run all the controls, run their swing arm controls. They're essentially in charge of that piler. We have boom operators, and again, some of these terms might be different in different locations, but for the West District, we run a boom operator that swings the boom back and forth to make sure that the pile is even, lined up, same height all the way across, in charge of backing up a certain number of inches to make sure that there's no gaps in between the piles. Any gaps, trying to think of the good word, we call it like whoops. Any areas where it's not flat on top or on the side can lead to increased deterioration when we get into the winter months. Snow piles up in there and acts as a insulator, and next thing you know, basically you're turning that into a nice blanket on top of piles for them to warm up. Believe it or not, you would think the snow on top of it will keep it cool. It doesn't. It actually warms them up. So we try to keep everything as flat and as even as possible. So between the piler operator and the boom operator, that is their primary responsibility to ensure that the pile is straight and even at all times. It can be challenging at times. It really can. But once you get the rhythm down, once you get a routine down, it's really smooth. It goes really smooth. And then once you have that that group around you that shows up every single day, you get into the flow where everybody knows where they're at, what they're doing, and the team works phenomenal. We had a group that worked on our pile 6. We had a couple. There were Workampers that worked last year, and we got more. What's the word I'm looking for? Congratulations, or just amazing work on that piler alone than any other piler. The Workampers that we had on that pile, the farmers loved them. It was the best running piler, smoothest running piler that we had in the West District. So they developed that team. It worked well with each other, and it flowed perfectly. So the other areas that we have out there, we have we call them cleanup crew, ground crew. They're essentially in charge to keep beets kind of shoveled up, keep them out of the way. Farmers don't really care for trucks running over sugar beets. If you think about it, every sugar beet that gets run over, that's a sugar beet that's lost. We can't make sugar out of that once it's crushed. So when a truck pulls out of the swing arm, that crew goes in, cleans up some of the beets, throws them into the swing arm. We put them back in the pile where they belong, and move on to the next side. So it's just kind of a back and forth, just one truck in, one truck out, one truck in, one truck out. It gets kind of repetitive, but it makes the day go by fast when it's busy like that, and it's nonstop back and forth. But again, going back to kind of the piler operator, that's the one that we communicate with the most. They have to have the communication skills to be able to operate with a full team, making sure that they're seeing signals, whether it's hand signals or verbal signals, to make sure everybody is in a safe position, safely doing their job, avoiding any kind of hazardous areas, tip zones, things like that. Those are all items that you'll learn during the safety orientation, different definitions of swing arms and tip zones and hazardous locations that we can find our workers in. But the piler operator, that's the one we look to lead that charge to keep everybody safe. Boom operator also runs our tear taker. So tear is a sample from a truck. That is what we use to determine that grower's specific field, what the sugar content's looking like, any other areas of concern, disease, anything like that we might have to see, we could see in that tear sample and address that accordingly. Their prices are based off of their tear samples, the amount of sugar that's in those sugar beets. So it's a very, very vital position of the boom operator. So not only is that boom operator working the boom and making sure the pile's straight, that person is having direct contact with growers or drivers all day long. We're constantly talking to them, grabbing their tear ticket, running the sample. So it's a busy job as well. There really is good. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say a lot of information about these positions specifically. And again, a lot of what the position really entails is kind of that general labor type, like he was talking about, directing trucks, taking samples, making sure your area is maintained and clean. We don't want anybody crushing any beets. And so make sure to follow and take a look at our other information that we have out there so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what this position looks like. So we're going to keep moving here so we can try to stay under an hour. I think, Jason, we can clearly.
I'm sorry about that.
How passionate he is.
I get the rambling. I apologize.
It's your livelihood, Jason. This is what you do. You are passionate about it. You love it.
It is fun. I really enjoy this. The other position that we do have, and I kind of touched on that a little bit in the previous slide, the special equipment operator. That person is in charge of the equipment that we have out there. So telehandlers, loaders, mini loaders. We have a team here from Michigan Sugar that will run the heavy loaders, but mini loaders, telehandlers, fork trucks, skid steers. We don't have one in the West, but I know the Central has a skid steer. Any equipment like that can be utilized to clean up around pilers, moving tear totes. Those totes become very heavy when obviously you're putting 25-pound samples in, and obviously we put quite a few of them in there. So we need heavy equipment to move that. But and then the special equipment operator also works with our ventilation crew laying tubes out. So we use those telehandlers to lay the tubes out to, then we cover them up with beets. Obviously, that's how we form our vent fields. But the special equipment operator is just kind of Johnny on the spot. It's somebody who, if we have a spill, the special equipment operator is there to help clean it up.
And what kind of candidate would be perfect to be an SEO? What do you look for in an SEO candidate?
Honestly, we look for, anybody could do this. Anybody could do the job, but we look for somebody that could come right in knowing how to operate equipment like that and operate it safely. We've had people come in, and I've ran that before. We put them through a couple tests or basically we have it on here, an audition, and they might be able to perform, but they don't perform it safely. They can't manage their speed correctly, or they're too rammy with it. We want somebody who can perform that responsibility as efficiently as possible, but as safely as possible. One thing that we ran into at night, obviously it gets dark, and we get into daylight savings time, and it gets darker earlier. There's a lot of traffic out here, a lot of trucks, a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. So we need somebody that could do the job safely, very safely, but efficiently at the same time, because it is nonstop, even in that position. You're constantly going. We have 11 pilers here, and usually I think 3 to 4 special equipment operators. So if there's a spill on number 1 and there's a spill on number 11, we got to be moving around to get those pilers back up and running, because the spill usually shuts that piler down, which causes lines to back up and wait times to go up, and then everybody gets grumpy.
Yeah, and then like Jason was saying, safety is certainly the #1 priority. And there's another position that we don't have listed, but that's a beet receiving leader, and they're the supervisors at these beet receiving stations. So they ensure that procedures are being followed and assist in managing the crews on site. In order to be considered for that, so if any of you guys have that type of experience, managerial, we would ask that you submit a resume with your application, and then Jason and other individuals like him will be reaching out to do actual interviews with you. So if you have any type of managerial experience, or do well with others, play well with others, please, we are looking for VRL still for this year, so we certainly encourage you to get your applications in right away and make sure to submit your resumes.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Alyssa. We're looking for somebody that can hold people accountable, but hold people accountable in a way that's, you're not out here trying to be a drill sergeant, or work for a prison or anything like that. You're here to work with people, to work alongside of people. Myself and Robert Buchholz here in the West, we're out there with shovels all the time too. We're digging out booms, we're digging out pilers. We're all in this together. So, but we're looking for people that can hold teams accountable. Make sure that they're doing things safely. But if you're a candidate for that, we'll definitely interview and talk to you.
Yeah. Okay. So working conditions. These are 9 to 12-hour shifts. Again, like we were talking previously, your 9-hour shift can run into a 12-hour shift depending on the workload. And we operate 7 days a week, weather permitting. We don't guarantee days or nights. Now, we are not here to sugarcoat it. The job does require you to be able to lift, pull, and push a minimum of up to 25 pounds. You must be able to bend, stoop, shovel, and climb around heavy equipment at least up to once a shift, because if it's muddy and they're bringing in stuff, you guys might have to get in those pilers and clean a little bit. You do have to be able to have the ability to be on your feet regularly and use your hands, arms, and legs repeatedly on this job, and potentially working on slippery and uneven surfaces. And then stand, of course, for extended periods of time. So the job does require you to perform these tasks in less than favorable conditions at times, which can include performing them in different temperatures, like sometimes heat, humidity, wind, cold, snow, rain. Jason, anything that you want to talk about with the working conditions?
Well, it's the weather. we're looking into everything. I remember one day, as I think my first year here, we had a beautiful, I think it was a Friday. We just started harvest. It was beautiful. It was 50, 60 degrees out, perfect conditions. By the time second shift rolled around, a front came through. It started raining. Then the rain turned into some kind of sleet. Then it started snowing. Then it dropped to about 30 degrees. But we took beets through that whole period of time. It's Michigan. We, like, for example, today we had ice in the morning. It's going to be 60 degrees here by the afternoon. So come prepared for just about any kind of weather conditions, any kind of weather environment. It's muddy. The grounds are muddy. It's a messy job, you know. But if you come prepared for it, it's not that bad. It's not bad. And we're doing things here, just in Bay City alone, to try to address, you know, some of the conditions, some of the mud conditions. But just, yeah, come prepared for just about anything you can think of.
Yeah, and so going into that, you know, perfect transition into preparing into pile. So how are you going to get ready for this job? We do send out monthly newsletters that kind of help prepare you as well. But these positions can be strenuous and on your feet, so you can prepare yourself physically before arriving by doing items like walking, jogging, light weightlifting, hiking, yoga. You don't have to be in the gym every day to be able to physically do this position. The things that are really going to be important are foot protection, how you eat, and apparel. So talking about foot protection and being out on your feet in the elements consistently, you need to have the right kind of footwear and clothing to make a difference throughout your day and your shifts. So really important is to have a good work boot, which needs to be waterproof, leather, and should lace up above the ankle for added support. It does not have to be steel toe, but we definitely encourage it. Just, again, another added level of protection. And then always breaking your boots before your first shift. So wear them while you're walking or jogging or getting the mail. Break them in. Consider boot liners, heated insoles, and neoprene toe warmers for when it gets chilly, especially if you're on the night shift. Those always help. Proper protein. So the proper nutrition can help with fatigue and provide extra energy. So meals like chili or crock pot meals, preparing your meals a week ahead of time, like meal prepping, make extra dinner to guarantee you have leftovers for the next day, and then snacks. Something to look forward to on your break. So beef jerky, mixed nuts, sandwiches, cheese sticks. You know, I'm a snacker, so definitely put those snacks in your lunch pail. Everything that you need for the day needs to be brought with you. Once you come on site, you do not have the ability to leave and like run to McDonald's or the local grocery store. Some of these places don't even have fast food available. So once you're on site, you cannot leave. You do need to bring whatever you need with you for the day, which includes apparel. We always encourage people to leave clothes or extra socks or hats or mittens in their vehicles, so that in the event that you want to add more layers on, you have extra layers in your vehicle. Or if say your feet feel a little wet, maybe got a little sweaty, and now they're getting cold, you've got extra socks in your car to replace those to get your feet warm again. We always encourage to dress in layers, bring some insulated work gloves, beanies, face masks, neck masks, lined jeans for you gals out there who maybe don't want to wear Carhartt because they can be difficult to get off when you use the restroom. The restrooms are porta potties, so it can be kind of a struggle to get those Carhartts off. So we always encourage lined jeans, snow pants or coveralls, heavy jackets, especially when it starts to get cold out. Like Jason was saying, the temperature can matter and change in a second. So it can be really beautiful and then get really cold, or vice versa. So we always kind of have to be prepared for really any weather. And then we always encourage people to check out thrift stores while they're driving up to the area. A, it's a good break for you to get off the road, but B, it's a great time to find some of those clothes that you're never going to want to wear again at a really great price. So we definitely encourage you to check out the local thrift stores to find some of your items for harvest. Pay and benefits. So in 2022, this year, our starting wage for that ground crew position, I think Jason, you called it a boom operator, is starting at $18.50 an hour. So our starting position pays $18.50 an hour. All hours worked are paid, and anything after 40 is overtime. And then you are all also eligible for a season completion bonus. We pay for your campground and your water, electric, and sewer. And if we can't provide you sewer, honey wagon. So it is a really great compensation package. And then there is no night shift differential. So it's based on the position, not necessarily your shift. So starting wage is $18.50 an hour. And the experience. It's an incredible experience, especially if you're a first-time RVer and you are looking for a place where you can really network with individuals. This is it, because the majority of the people that stay in these campgrounds are here for the sugar beet harvest, and they are work campers just like you are. Okay. Solo work campers. I know there's a lot of solo work campers out there that wonder if we hire, and we absolutely do. So if you're a solo work camper out there who's looking for work this fall, we absolutely would love to talk to you. Just make sure you get your application submitted and talk to one of our coordinators. We also have our late arrival program. And what this means is if you are not eligible or able to come for the start of harvest, but maybe the week later, we will guarantee a minimum of $1,500 in gross wages for you to come and complete the sugar beet harvest. So say you show up on 4 days after the harvest has started, and you've got 15 days left of that season. If you do not make up to $1,500 in gross wages, we will make up for that. So say you make $700, we will pay the difference to make sure you get up to $1,500, so it's worth your time because you came in late and maybe missed a couple days. So if you can't start right away, let us know. There's also the chance, like we experienced last year, we planned to start on the 15th. We didn't actually start until I think the 22nd, or maybe it was a little bit later than that. So you would have been eligible for the entire harvest, and you would have made out way more than 1,500. So please let us know if you're not able to get with us right away. We still might have a position for you. Campgrounds, we make the reservations and pay for your campsite for the duration of harvest. Sign up early, get your applications in now if you're interested, because not all campgrounds are created equal. So as we get and fill up in some of our nicer campgrounds, we might have to put you in some that aren't bad. They might not have the sewer hookup. We might have to bring a honey wagon service out, which is something that we provide to you. We set up twice a week. They come and they pump you out. Most of the campgrounds are located in or very near to town with gas and grocery and laundry. We do have some camp hosts available in some locations. Like I said, honey wagon and water service are provided when needed. So if it gets really cold and things start to shut down, we might have to truck water out, which again, we take care of. Pets, we understand how important pets are to work campers. So pets are allowed in the campgrounds, not at the piling site. And we ask that you make sure you pick up after your pet, keep them on a leash, and follow all of those campground rules. We do not hire somebody to walk dogs. So if you have a pet that needs to be let out, we definitely encourage you to network with the individuals in the campground and find somebody who might be working an opposite shift than you, and they can help you and facilitate. You guys can let each other's pets out. There also might be some older kids that might not be old enough to work the beet harvest, as you do have to be a minimum age of 18, but they might be a good candidate to let your dog out. And some people, try to do a little side gig and maybe walk dogs. Some of the older kids do. Vans, we get a lot of questions on if vans are allowed. We do accept vans and conversions, so converted school buses, converted trailers, converted vans. But the conversion must meet Class B requirements. So it has to have a bed, sink, type of stove, type of refrigeration, and a heat source. And please keep in mind that if we experience extended shutdowns, you need a safe place to hang out in. So if the temperatures do drop, it starts snowing, you need to know that we want you to have a safe and warm place where you can be during those extended shutdowns. Not all campgrounds have bathrooms and showers. So when you review your coordinator, your checklist with your coordinator, please let them know so we can put you in a place that has bathrooms and showers if you need them. Because again, not all campgrounds are created equal. But like Jason was saying, there are many beautiful campgrounds in the area that we use that are right on the shores of Lake Huron there. So again, please get your applications in as soon as possible if this is something that you're thinking about. The fall weather. So again, Jason's kind of hit on this. It definitely ranges between 75 degrees all the way down to the 30s. It can be warm and it can be cold. So we ask that you dress appropriately and just be prepared for that type of weather. Again, keep clothes in your car. You can always take clothes off as we get into the warmer days, but if you didn't come prepared and you only have a sweater and it starts dipping into the 40s and 30s, you're not going to be prepared and you're going to get cold. So always keep clothes in your vehicle. The hiring process. So we always reach out to the individuals who worked last year, kind of in that January timeframe, but you can submit your applications at any time of the year. So if this is something that you guys are thinking about for 2023, you guys can submit your applications in now, and we'll start contacting you in November and December of this year to get you set up for the following year. So if this is something kind of a pipe dream, get your applications in now, and we can start contacting you this fall. So we're talking to all these different people. We follow up with you every 30 to 45 days just to see if you have any questions, concerns. Make sure that if you do have anything or we've got any updates to you, it gives us a chance to talk. In May, we ask you to confirm. So we ask you to commit. I mean, we're asking you to commit when we make you that verbal job offer, but we are truly asking you to commit to be there this fall when we call you in May. In June, we do start planning arrivals as early as June, hopefully this year. So we'll start to make those calls and let you know what day you need to arrive and what campground and where your office orientation is going to be at. July, August, and September, we'll continue to follow up every 30 to 45 days as you make your plans to arrive. In October, we have you arrive kind of generally that first week of October. We'll get you here for some training, and then we'll get started for main campaign. And then it's harvest, ready, set, harvest. Here we go. And then when you're done, if you loved it and you're ready to do it again, you can submit your application all over. We'll be in contact, and we'll bring you back for the next year. So we've got people coming back, that have done this since the first year, and they're coming back. I think this is our fourth season, Jason, with you guys, correct? Our fourth season with Michigan, and we love it. We built an incredible relationship, and it's been great. And we definitely encourage people to check out the Michigan Sugar Beet Harvest. So orientation and training. When you get your arrival information, you will get a orientation time and location, which is where you'll come into the office to finish your hiring paperwork. Most of you, or some of you have already gotten this, but we do have a new online onboarding that we're doing this year. So it should shorten up your orientation process in the office, as most of it we've now been able to get online. But a lot of that, we've got some forms, finish your I-9, and then a safety film for you to watch. Then you'll receive your information for your on-site training, where then you'll be assigned a day to come and do that on-site training where Jason talks about you're going to learn about the machines, where to stand, what buttons to push, how to direct a truck in properly. Those are all things that you'll learn at this training. And then if you are selected for a skilled position like SEO, then you will have specialized times for specific trainings for those positions. If you are interested in BRL, one thing I forgot to mention, so if you're interested in that leadership position, you do have to be available in early September. We generally try to bring those leaders in early to get you guys a month of training before we get started, so you really know what we're doing on those grounds. We don't want you to come in a week before and then try to figure it out. So if you're interested in a leadership position, we would have to have you in the Michigan area in early September. One thing to keep in mind. Frequently asked questions. What do we do for lunches and breaks? So again, you're going to need to bring everything that you need for that shift with you and on site. A lot of people take lunches in their vehicles, but there's also Michigan Sugar has graced us with break rooms in certain areas, in certain piling locations where you guys can go in. There's tables and chairs. I think I saw a microwave last year. Jason, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Yep. But there is a place for you guys to get out of the elements and eat your lunch or your dinner.
Yep.
How far do I drive to work? So from campground to work location, we have as short as, I think it's 2 miles, and as far as 28 miles. So we generally try to keep it under 30 miles, and we always try to place you at the campground nearest to the piling site in which you'll be assigned. What about grocery stores? So it's Michigan. I mean, they're rural, but they've got grocery stores just about everywhere. I think Dollar General is pretty taken care of making sure that rural USA has the grocery stores that they need. But there are grocery stores, laundromats. You might have to drive a little bit further to get to a Walmart, so to speak, but there is absolutely grocery stores available. What are the wages? So again, $18.50 is the starting wage. The SEO position and the VRL position do pay a little bit more. But so that $18.50 is the starting hourly wage, and then you are eligible for overtime after 40 hours. So you can make a pretty good wage in that short amount of time. How will you get paid? We pay bi-weekly, and you can sign up for direct deposit. If you do not want to sign up for direct deposit, then we will issue you an instant issue global cash card where your money will be automatically put onto that. Where will you be stationed? It's based off of skills and availability. Obviously, if you have that specialized position, we're going to place you somewhere where we need that specialized SEO position. Otherwise, again, based on skills, availability, and where we need the biggest help is where we kind of station you. You'll find out your piling site station once you arrive for the harvest. When does the job start? We generally start October 15th, and we have you come right around the week prior, again, to get through office orientation and get you out for some training. How long does the harvest last? It is based on Mother Nature. It goes as fast as the weather will allow us to, but we do ask for a commitment through November 15th to get those 18 to 21 working day seasons in case we experience any weather-related shutdowns. Can you be with your friends? Apply soon or get your applications in now. If you wait until later when all of our stations are starting to fill up, it's going to be extremely hard to be able to do that, but we will do our best to accommodate it, but we can't guarantee it. So if it's something you're interested in, working with your friends or staying in the same campground as your friends, get your applications in now. How long will I be there? Again, we ask for a commitment of through November 15th, so it's 31 days to get those 18 to 21 working days in. If November 15th comes and goes and we're still not done, you do have the ability to leave because you've met your commitment, but we absolutely encourage you to stay as there's more beets potentially to get into the pile and more money to be made for you guys. How do I get medications? Please come prepared with those. We ask you to receive those prior to you getting up here. A lot of locations do have general delivery, but especially when it comes to medications, we ask you to plan to just have those with you already. What will I need for clothes and shoes? Again, clothes that you can, we call them disposable clothes that you can pick up at your local thrift store or right up here to wear and potentially toss after the harvest is done. I don't know too many people that keep their clothes after the season. And then shoes, again, a good work boot that's leather, waterproof, and laces about the ankle for additional support. What hours will you be working? Again, it's 9 to 12-hour shifts, and they kind of range. We've got a 6:30 to 3:30, and then 3 to, I think is it 3 to 9, and then we have an overnight shift as well on some locations. But just please know that these are 9 to 12-hour shifts. What equipment is provided? Michigan Sugar provides a hard hat, safety glasses, and safety vest. Is there anything else provided, Jason? Do we have gloves or?
We do have gloves. We try to provide raincoats, rain suits, especially for rain days. We don't have. We ask when we do provide something like that. That's your rain suit that's going to last the whole year, because obviously we can't supply one every single day, but we try our best to accommodate the weather conditions. But again, as Alyssa stated, just make sure you come prepared. We don't have warm equipment or warm stuff, but we have stuff that can keep you out of the elements the best a rain suit can.
Perfect. And then when do I get paid? So again, it is bi-weekly, and you will actually receive a piece of paper when you come into the office that gives you the exact pay days. So you will get that in your packet when you come into the office orientation. So what do other people say about the harvest? I've been ready for another year, love it there, can't wait to come back. Love this job. I ran a machine and was amazing. I wish I could do it again. I love this job, was freezing cold, but running a machine was amazing. So again, it's about perception, about the experience. Is it always going to be beautiful and sunny and the birds are chirping? No, but again, like Jason was saying, the rewarding feeling of what you're doing and the people that you get to meet and all the hard work that you do, it's just a great experience. Good money, worked there last year, Hope Township, Midland County. It was awesome. So again, that's a testament to Michigan Sugar and how they treat their people. So thank you, Jason and Michigan Sugar, for everything that you guys do for the people. So if you want to learn more, visit us. Let's Get Social, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out our YouTube channel. And of course, you can always search us on the internet on our website. There are some other people who have YouTube channels out there that have done stuff on the Michigan Beet Harvest as well, so make sure to check them out. If you're not following us on Facebook, you should. We do have a monthly, what we call Around the Campfire, where we get on a Facebook Live and we basically just answer questions, talk about the beet harvest, where things are at right now. You know, planting season will hopefully soon be upon us, so we can talk about certain things like that, and then just how to prep people for their arrival. So that's really, really fun. We're also going to be doing a giveaway on there, so make sure to join us for that. It is the first Wednesday of every month, so it'll be coming up next week, so check us out. Okay, Jody, I think we're ready to open her up for some questions.
Awesome. Well, very well done, Jason and Alyssa. It's so great to have you guys here to provide all of these details. It really allows work campers to get a good picture of the opportunity. You know, not a lot of employers do this, so work campers, take note. Express has been utilizing work campers for a very long time in the sugar beet harvest, whether it be in Michigan or maybe some other locations. And so just understand that they know work campers and they've built this program to meet your needs and wants and desires. And so they're really great people to be involved with. So I know a lot of work campers want short-term gigs and a good chunk of change, and this is one of those opportunities. It's really a sweet deal for work campers. So, all right, those of you who are online with us, we'd love to take your questions. As Alyssa said, you can type them in, whether you have that little control panel on your screen, or if you're on a smartphone or tablet, it should be down there at the bottom. We do have some good questions coming in already. I'll try to keep things grouped together so we're not jumping around too much here. So let's talk about connectivity. So folks were wondering if there's Wi-Fi available at the campgrounds, and also maybe what cell service is like in this area.
So not all campgrounds have Wi-Fi capabilities. Some of our bigger ones do, obviously, but we don't guarantee Wi-Fi. And in regards to cell service, I know I have Verizon. Whenever I've visited, Verizon's always been great. Jason, what kind of cell service is up there?
Yeah, generally the cell service is pretty good. I have AT&T. My work phone is Verizon. For the most part, I can go to any piling site, any location, and you're getting decent service. I mean, there's areas out in Huron County that it gets sketchy at times, but for the most part, you have decent cell service everywhere you go.
Sure. Awesome. Okay. Okay, and when would a worker know which campground they're going to be staying at, as perhaps they would maybe want to contact the campground and come in earlier before the opportunity starts?
So that's a great question. Again, it's kind of that June timeframe when we start to make arrivals. So if you plan to be in the area sooner, we can always try to accommodate it to know where we're trying to place you earlier. So if you're making plans to be there in the summer or earlier, we can try to do that. Please know though, again, like Jason was saying, it's a beautiful area. It's kind of touristy in the summer, so sometimes it can be a little difficult to get in earlier than the reservations that we've already made for you. So please do not just arrive and expect to have a campsite if you arrive earlier than your scheduled arrival date. Because again, we're still dealing with people enjoying that recreational camping.
Camping is very popular up here, very, very popular, so.
Definitely, yeah. Beautiful part of the country. I think Michigan and some other states in the Midwest kind of get overlooked, but just such beautiful natural areas to be explored and enjoyed.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, question here. Alyssa, if you could talk about pets again and how that, are pets allowed at the campgrounds and usually how that works for pet owners?
Yep, so pets are allowed at the campgrounds. They are not allowed at the piling stations. We've seen everything from dogs being let out, cats being let out. I've seen a couple goats. But so in the event that you need a dog walker or somebody to let your pet out, again, our campground hosts, we don't have one at each campground and we do not require them to walk dogs. So that's something that you'll really need to connect with your camp host about if they are interested in doing that. If not, we do advise you to network within the campground because pretty much everybody who is camping there during that time are going to be beet harvest workers who also might need a pet to be let out. We also know that there are some older kids, 16, 17, who can't work harvest yet, but do offer services for dog walking or even babysitting from time to time. So if you're a parent or you have dogs, that might also be a good option for those older kids as well.
Super. Okay, great. Alrighty, and let's see, some questions about compensation here regarding taxes. So are the Workampers treated as W-2 employees or 1099 contractors? What taxes or fees should they expect to see taken out of their gross pay?
You guys are treated as W-2 employees, so ultimately as we have you come in, we'll have you complete a W-4 form, and then you'll receive a W-2 at the end of the year.
Okay, and just to cover all our bases here, Alyssa, so Express covers the cost of the Workampers campsites, and so the Workamper won't see the value or the cost of that RV site on their income, correct?
That is correct. Yep, we do not, we cover it. Again, we make the reservations, we pay it up front, and we just handle it.
Super. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind, Workampers, when you're, thinking about what your, hourly wage ends up equating to. Be sure to factor in that campsite and hookups and honey wagon, water service, etc. All of that is a value to you, the Workamper, as you're not paying out of your pocket. So, that just makes that hourly wage even more.
Yep, and the season completion bonus. So you could be eligible for a 10% of your gross wages that you made during harvest for a season completion bonus. So again, it just continues.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and this is a great opportunity. Lots of Workampers like to do the sugar beet harvest. It, gives them a nice little amount in their bank account. So then maybe for the holidays, they can kind of take some time off and maybe enjoy some time with family or just not be working during those times. All right, question here. Will the company reimburse expenses for traveling to Michigan, i.e. gas?
You know what, at this time, it's something that we are evaluating. It's been in discussion, as we know, gas prices are rising. We're seeing it everywhere. It has been discussion, it has been brought up in the past, but that's not something that we're really ready to communicate with the Workampers. It's something that we are still evaluating.
Cool. Alrighty. And let's see. Alrighty. What is the earliest arrival date?
So again, we generally have our Workampers come in the first week of October. If you're potential for a beet receiving leader, it's going to be in September. So I don't have a calendar up in front of me right now. Let's see when the earliest part of October is here. You'd think I'd have that memorized, but probably right around 2nd, 3rd, 4th of October is ideally this year, unless something changes when we start to see those Workampers come in.
Yeah, it's very, very weather dependent. And I think it was last year we shoot for the October 15th range to start, but last year we had to push it back. I think it was a full week, wasn't it, Alyssa? Because
I think it was nearly a full week.
yeah, we couldn't get the temperatures to come down below 70. It was a gorgeous October, but when it comes to beet delivery, it was horrible. So we had to push it out another week. So very weather dependent.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get out our crystal balls and get Mother Nature's phone number and say, hey, lady. Yeah. Alrighty, let's see. Someone is curious if there is exposure to pesticides while working at the piling stations.
So the beet is it's a root. So anything that would be done is in the field and the tops are taken off. So, and I could safely, I think I would say no. Jason, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, you're pretty much right. I mean, the process is they top the beet out in the field, remove that, and then uproot the sugar beet itself that's growing in the ground, and then bring that in. Even if they do bring in some tops, you're not going to have direct contact with those tops, and in most cases, the leaves are all stripped off of them anyways. But those beets go right into the piler. The piler puts it right into the pile itself. There's very little contact with beets outside of any kind of a spill or just shoveling. You're not necessarily picking anything up by hand.
Yeah.
And if you do,
like
you're wearing gloves.
Exactly. Yeah, that was going to be my point. Yeah, you're likely going to have those gloves on too. So cool. Okay. Alrighty. And let's see. Does Michigan offer a referral program if work campers refer other work campers to the harvest?
Yeah, so we have a referral program. So if you refer a friend that has not worked with Express before, you're eligible for a $100 referral bonus if they work a minimum of 80 hours, which does not take long when you're working the sugar beet harvest. We are also going to be rolling out a new, last year we did a referral drawing and our prizes were $5,000, $2,000, and $1,000. And so looking at this year, we are going to be implementing a new referral drawing here. So details to come very, very soon. So that'll be out very soon, but we do have our regular referral program and we'll be adding on to it for a referral drawing.
Wow. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. In Michigan, do you guys have the bad weather pay minimum?
So I think the individual is asking about stay pay. Michigan Sugar does not specifically have a stay pay program, but I will say Michigan Sugar did an incredible job last year when we did experience those weather-related shutdowns. They still brought people in for 4 hours and kept them busy. So whether it was helping cleaning up the machines or something like that, Michigan Sugar, although we experienced shutdowns, still brought their people in to get them the time.
Awesome. Okay, great. Alrighty, and let's see. Workamper here wondering, can we get a list of the campgrounds that you might use?
Unfortunately, no. We're always looking to facilitate more campgrounds, and there's a lot that goes into how we place people at campgrounds. So again, skills and availability, what type of rig you have, what type of facilities are at these locations. So unfortunately, everything we do is kind of based and has a reason.
Sure. That makes sense. Alrighty. Okay, for folks who maybe have already, like earlier this year, maybe they went on the website and submitted an application, when should they anticipate hearing from your coordinators?
Generally, we try to reach out to people within, if anything, 5 to 7 business days. If we experience weeks where we have an influx of applications, it might take a little bit longer for us to get to you. But generally, we try to reach out to people as soon as possible. So if you have not heard from us and you submitted your applications early on, please give us a call or send us an email so that we know, so we can connect with you. We should be reaching out to people regularly. So let us know. If we missed you, I'm extremely sorry. We want to talk to you.
Super. Okay, all right. Well, attendees, last call for questions. Alyssa and Jason, you guys knocked out the questions that were submitted already. You've done a great job here. I really can't even think of anything myself that you really didn't cover. You guys did a great job. So, oh, here's one real quick. Have work campers been able to do both harvests, meaning Michigan and, maybe American Crystal or Sydney?
The second year, they had the ability to, just because of how quickly the American Crystal season ended and how later the Michigan season started, please do not plan for that. With American Crystal, they generally don't run 9 days. That was, I don't know what that was. It was something, but moving forward, we don't anticipate that. We generally don't expect it. So how that kind of ends and starts and the travel time to get there, it's really going to be dependent on the weather, but we don't encourage people to plan on it unless we know for certain that there is some sort of big delay coming. But otherwise, they generally kind of start to run into each other.
Sure. All right, that makes sense. All right, well, Jason, Alyssa, anything else we should throw out to the Workampers listening in?
All I can tell you is we do appreciate Workampers coming in. I've been out here for 2 years, and the Workamper community has been by far the best people to work with. So I strongly encourage you to come make my life very easy. Because I'd love to have you here.
Well, thank you, Jason, for joining us, and thank you, Jody and Workamper News. It's always been great. And all the viewers out there, thank you guys for attending. We truly hope that we provided you the information you need to make the right decision to join the Michigan Sugar Beet Harvest this fall. And as always, check us out, give us a call, follow us on all of our social media, send in your applications, and we will see you this fall.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Express, Alyssa, and Jason. We wish you the best for a very prosperous and good weather harvest this year.
Awesome. Thank
Good.
you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us and for listening in. Happy work camping, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye,
you.
everybody.